Shane, good morning. How are you?
Great, man. Thanks for having us on today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't know what the weather's like by you, but it's kind of a dreary day. So we're going to use our music today. I'm in Chicago, by the way. I'm in Chicago, and so kind of a dreary day in Chicago, but hopefully it's sunshine is out wherever you're at today, and looking forward to talking music.
Well, man, we got some rain on the way, so it's overcast here too. But we'll brighten the day up. Me and you together, we'll brighten them up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me take a moment to bring our future audience into our conversation. Tell them a little about you here. I have the great pleasure this morning of getting to spend some time with country singer and songwriter Shane Owens today. Shane's current album is called Thankful for Country Music. And, in addition to country music, I'm grateful for your time today. So that's what I'm thankful for.
Man, we're thankful for people like yourselves that take the time out of your day to make us who we are. God bless country music, traditional country music, and everybody at radio and people like yourself that make us who we are. So we appreciate you.
It's my absolute pleasure. So I'm looking forward to sharing, I'm looking forward to hearing about your music and sharing this with our audience. So for the future here. So I wanted to ask you, kind of start from the beginning a little bit, and just ask you, what was it in your upbringing that led you to a career in country, not only country music, but traditional country music, the roots of country?
Well, we really didn't have any choice. My granddaddy, he was stone cold traditional country. George Jones, Haggard, Farron Young, Vern Giles, and all the greats that come before me. All the what I call country music, traditional country music icons and heroes. He didn't put up with anything else on the radio but traditional country music. And I get a lot of inspiration from my grandmother. She played piano in church. And, I've got a lot of musical background on my dad's side of the family. But it's always been traditional country music in my house. Every Saturday night you could hear the Grand Ole Opry blasting wide open when we were growing up. So, I tell everybody my mama whooped me with a George Jones album.
That's a good whooping. I'll tell you that. That's a good whooping. As you were growing up in that environment where, I know the Opry, like you said, was a big part of it. And I want to talk about that a little bit more later about the Opry and you and your own experience with the Opry down the road here. But who were some of these other influences? So you heard these people, these were the people that your family played for you. Who were some of the other influences, even leading up to today, that you hear their voices or you hear the craft in their songwriting and you're like, wow, what is it about them?
Well, I consider myself so blessed. I had not only one of my heroes, but a Country Music Hall of Fame, a great friend, Randy Travis, produced the last record we had before Thankful for Country Music. When you could surround yourself with people like Randy and John Anderson and so many traditional country artists that are heroes and legends in the business that believe in what I'm doing now. Randy quoted a few years back, he gladly passed on to me, and that's big shoes to fill. There'll never be another Randy Travis or a Merle Haggard or a George Jones, but we're doing what we can to keep traditional country music alive. And when you've got that kind of company and number one songwriters in Nashville believing in what we're doing, we've been blessed to have the opportunity to sit down with some of those number one songwriters and learn and let me kind of hone my craft and learn from some of the best in the business. I consider it, it's funny, but I consider everybody like Randy for babysitting me and helping me along the way.
Well, absolutely. What an honor and a privilege to spend a little time with him. Hey, would you mind if I shared the quote? I have the quote in front of me that he had said. Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, because you kind of touched on it. I wanted to kind of mention it to our audience. Yeah. So from the mouth of Randy Travis, who, as you said, just amazing songwriter and singer performer. Shane Owens brings it all: vocals, writing, performance, and passion. He has paid his dues, remained committed to traditional country, and brings you a song with a heart and a story. Songs that will get you through the tough times and enjoy the happy times. And lyrics that will remind you of the threads that make you the fabric you are today. He will bless you with his talent and kindness. To Shane, I gladly pass the baton. As you had said a minute ago, to Shane, I gladly pass the baton. If the first part of that paragraph didn't get you, that last sentence, wow, to think. Here is someone who has just had such a career in music, and to be willing to pass that torch and say, keep on singing, keep on writing, Shane. How awesome is that?
Man, unbelievable. You know, I tell everybody, you know, I've had the opportunity to play the Opry a few times, and had several radio hits back to back that went top 40, some in the top 30, a top 50 Billboard hit last year. But you know, like I said earlier, man, I consider myself very humbled and blessed to have Randy and Mary and so many different artists that come before me, believe in what I'm doing, and everybody at Country Radio and yourself for helping us. You know, this is not an easy business. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
That's right.
And I've been doing this for a while, but I consider myself very blessed. But you know, we love traditional country music, and if you hear Shane Owens' album, you can hear some of my influences like Randy and Keith Whitley and Alan Jackson and George Strait. You can hear some of that stuff in my music and tell I grew up on the good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I spent a little time listening to some of the music. I went back to the first single that he produced, I think, for you was Where I'm Coming From, right? Is that the single that kind of where you guys started working together?
Yeah, that's the album. You know, Where I'm Coming From was the name of that album. That was a title cut. It was a great single. It went done very well at radio. And you know, the coolest thing is we got to shoot the video for that song. You can go on YouTube and watch it. We got to shoot that right here in my hometown, which was unbelievable, because that's just something you just don't get to do all the time, you know. And for everybody to Nashville to load up and come down here, it was a dream come true to have all my family and friends I grew up with in the community be a part of that video.
That's what's so neat about country music is, as I talk to so many different country artists, and it's just that the pride that they're able to share with their hometown, that they could bring back their career to their hometown. I've talked to so many people that really bring that, you know, showing the family and all the people who supported you all those years, how often it is in the rock and roll music, not so often, that you bring it all back home to your hometown. But in country music, there's just this genuine affair with the people and the fans. It's always been that way, you know, in country music, where you were able to bring back and thank all the people around you by saying, here's, you know, bring the film crews in and let's make this video right in my hometown.
Yeah, you know, exactly, because those people, I've always had great family support, but those people are the ones that believed before anybody else did. They were there from day one.
Yep.
When you used to come see me in the smaller honky tonks, when I just started out, I didn't know but a handful of songs. They were cheering me on then. So to be able to share that blessing and let them to be a part of something, you know, it takes all the spokes in the wheel turning at one time. At the end of the day, I'm only a singer. It takes a lot of people, like a great label, great management, great band, and people like yourself to make me who I am.
Yeah, and it takes a village, like you said. It really takes a village of people to put it all together. Yeah. How did it come about that you ended up working with Randy? This was earlier in your career, a little bit earlier in your career, not that long ago. But how did it come about that you guys got to work together?
Well, you know, I had a couple of record deals that fell through for different reasons, you know, management stuff we couldn't agree on. That's just the nature of the business, you know. But I found what I needed in the Merrimont Records. They believed in me and were allowed me to be myself. And that's what sells. If you go to change an artist, I think that's where you go down the wrong road. If you take away from, you know, get too far out of their comfort zone, that's where you go to messing up. But they've let me be myself. We all get along great, and great team, great bunch of folks. And, you know, the way it happened with Randy is it's just one of those things, man. One in a million. You know, you gotta be talented, but you gotta be little bit lucky in this business too. And Daniel and Dana were real friends. The owners of the label, Daniel and Dana Bloom, they were real good friends with Randy and Mary. We went in. I actually brought that album to them. We already had it recorded, and Randy heard it and just fell in love with the way I sing and the way I present myself. He knew I was, you know, very much traditional country music, and that's something me and him have in common. He fell in love, and he was willing to work with us and help me. And like I said, when you got somebody like Randy Travis, Country Music Hall of Famer, in your corner and believing in what you're doing, not only did I take that family inspiration, but when you got people like that inspire me as well, man, you just can't go wrong. You know, just do music because you love it. If you get into music before thinking you're going to get rich overnight, that's not going to happen, man. You know, you just got to get into it because you love it, and then just use the good Lord's talent in the right way. You know, a lot of people in the business abuse it, and I just always know how thankful and blessed I've been, so I always try to do the right thing.
Well, I think that foundation of gratefulness certainly helps, and the patience, because I mean, like you said, you brought up the labels, you know, from labels coming and going, you know, just things that happen in the industry. And then, you know, we've gone over in time with the change of physical product to more of digital and streaming, and trying to still monetize a career in the business, do what you love, but also you have to, you know, you have to support your family. So it's like trying to monetize in a world where there isn't a vinyl album that much anymore, or a CD or a cassette, where it's digital streams are what's become important. So the label changes, and then the streaming. How you stay positive, and how do you keep managing to rise above the challenges? I would think something like working with Randy Travis would help a little bit, like that the inspiration to say, okay, I got to keep going with this thing.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and like I said, you know, it's all in this business. You've got to build up. I've over the last 10 or 15 years been able to establish a relationship with some of the biggest names in country music. We've shared the stage with so many people like Toby Keith, just all the artists out there we've been able to open up for and share the stage with and learn from, and the songwriters that are willing to sit down with me, like I said earlier, and share their craft and their talent as writers. I've learned a lot, and we're sitting right where I think we need to be. Even though we're in a pandemic, and everybody, you know, I want to encourage everybody to know we all want to get through this together. And I think, you know, the main thing we need in this world now is a lot more love and respect for one another. And I believe the future is going to be a better place to be. But, man, we're itching to get back out there. I'm not going to tell you no lie. I'm ready to go. I've been sitting at home for a few months about to go crazy. But, you know, with social media, like you said, everything changes daily. With social media, at least we can get to our friends and fans on Facebook. You know, we do a live show every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time for an hour. We take requests. I'll cut up, you know, tell a joke or two or something, or take requests. Just, it's very family oriented. We
Sure.
get thousands of views every week from people all over the country. So at least through this pandemic, we're able to do that.
Yeah, because I mean, social media has been a saving grace during these times, because how do you connect with people around the world during a pandemic? You know, how do you do that? You're used to being a road warrior and doing shows and being on the stage, sharing your gift of song live. And what happens when someone shuts those lights down for a moment, you know? And so you've found creative ways to stay in touch with your fans through your weekly shows. And that's wonderful.
Well, you're talking about a country boy that hit it, had a flip phone 2 years ago. So I've learned a lot, man. I'm looking live and all that kind of stuff, man, doing Twitter and Instagram and all that. So I've come a long way.
That's awesome. You know, we're all learning. I'm telling you, I'm learning every day about it too myself. I'll tell you, we're all learning. We're kind of going, because I grew up in the traditional music business. You know, I was on the other side. I was on the sales and marketing side of music. And so I saw how we went from this industry where we were selling CDs to not so much anymore. You know, we're talking about pieces of air in the, you know, music like that. So I really had to, over the years, definitely adjust and adapt, and it's a learning curve for all of us, I'll tell you.
It is, man. You know, like you said a while ago, everybody goes and they download that song for 99 cents off the internet, and then that's it, man. So it's tough on us all, but we're going to get through all this together, man. We're just excited to still be making country music. You know, a lot of things around the world have shut down, so we're very blessed. You know, Nashville, I think, is going to pick back up, and we're going to get back out there on the road soon. And we just got to, like I said, all get through this together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there anybody, so you've mentioned, you know, some of the great artists that you've toured with. Is there anybody on that list of artists that you're thinking, oh, I would love when this all clears up and we get back to health, we can be out there, someone that you would just think would be just a perfect, because of either your personalities or your music, someone that you'd love to go on the road with and tour with?
Well, man, you know, like I said, we've been so blessed to share the stage with so many big name acts and learn a lot from them. But man, you know, I love to get out on the road with somebody like Alan Jackson or George Strait. That's my kind of music, and you know that they're the last of a dying breed. You know, sadly, I think that's my opinion, and everybody's got one. But it'd be a dream come true to share the stage somebody like George Strait, you know, or Alan Jackson, because that's the kind of stuff I grew up on, and that's the kind of stuff I love to. That's my type of music, but. No disrespect to anybody else. I respect anybody in this business that gets out there and works their tail off and tours and goes through everything it takes to be a country music artist now. A lot of respect for everybody, but it'd have to be Alan Jackson or George Strait for me.
Well, you know, as we talk about social media, it's interesting because many, many years ago, I think we would all feel like daunted by the fact of reaching out to someone like that and saying, hey, let's tour, you know. But like in this current world with social media, sometimes it just takes a couple of extra ears. Look at what happened with Randy Travis, how you had label, managers who knew him. So everybody knows somebody, and I think Nashville gets smaller by the day. As far as everybody knows everybody. That everybody knows everyone, and who knows if the right person hears that, there you are on the road with Ellen Jackson or George Strait. Because it's like, I think back in the past, these people were more protected by agents and assistants and labels, where now they might see a post that you said, oh, my dream tour, and all of a sudden you get a phone call from your publicist saying, hey, we got a call from Alan Jackson today. He'd like to, you never know in this current world of social media.
Exactly, and everybody does Facebook. If you want to know anything about everybody, just get on Facebook. So I mean, that's where it's at. Luckily, like I say, we're still being able to get to our fans virtually, and sadly, you can only see us behind the screen right now. But I know things are going to change for the better, and we're just, the new single "Everybody Dies, Not Everybody Lives" takes on a whole new meaning in these pandemic and trying times we're going through. So it's doing well at radio, but we definitely want to get back out on the road soon.
Well, the lyrics to that song definitely, very appropriate for our current times, right? I mean, it's just, it's to hear those lyrics and to hear that message, definitely appropriate for right now.
Yeah. Well, sadly, we've lost a lot of lives in America, and it's sad, and but we can't be afraid to go out and live our lives. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, we just gotta love one another more and respect one another more, and just go live, because none of us are ever promised tomorrow. That's no right. Matter if it's COVID-19 or a heart attack or anything. None of us are ever promised tomorrow. We never know. But my message to everybody is to stay strong, and let's get through this together and love one another more, and just respect one another. That's all we got to do.
Yeah, I agree. And if we can do that, we could move mountains.
Absolutely.
I want to go back to the Grand Ole Opry for a moment, and I'm trying to put myself in your shoes for a moment and say, okay, every Saturday night growing up, I was listening to the Grand Ole Opry. You were every Saturday you'd have it on at home, and then in 2017, I believe it was, you made your debut with the Grand Ole Opry. To walk on that stage, what that must have been like, and to think about all the people who had walked on that stage and performed before you.
Yeah, it's a dream come true. I never get nervous, but man, I was nervous as I could be. The Grand Ole Opry is the mother church of country music. That's one place you do not want to make a mistake at. And we got there, the first timers, what they call the first timers at the Grand Ole Opry. You've got your own first time little room. You go in, your little dressing room, and we got there like 2 hours early. So I went and actually stood in the circle before they opened the doors, just to see what it felt like, because I didn't want to get up there and mess up. And man, I got goosebumps. It's the Grand Ole Opry, the mother church of country music, where Keith Whitley and Patsy Cline, Willie Nelson, so many of my heroes growing up on the Opry. I had to pinch myself. I'm like, dude, is this really happening? I'm playing the Grand Ole Opry tonight, and it was just a wonderful experience. And the guy, one of the guys had been working there for 30 years backstage. He said, and this might be a little hardcore, but he said, most people puke in the garbage can before they go on. Well, I hope I get it over with. But, we had a great time experience. We played it a couple of times now. We look forward to going back. But I tell everybody, if I never sell 1 million records, I can always say I played the Grand Ole Opry, and that's one of the highlights of my career.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah. And just even as a tourist, I went down to the Grand Ole Opry, and, standing in that circle, I'm not one for the big pictures, and, you get off the roller coaster at Disney World, you walk through the store and they have a photo of you, screaming, that kind of thing. I've never been one to buy that photo, but I got to tell you, when they took us on that tour of the Grand Ole Opry and they said, you could stand in that circle, I never got to perform in that stage, of course, but I got to stand in that circle with my family, and I thought, oh my goodness, I couldn't even fathom what I was standing. A chill up my spine, and then you, a performer, a musician, to get to actually play and look out at that audience and say, all the people that I'm performing for that have come to see these artists over the years and for years and years, and that tradition, how amazing, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, man, that night was something special. I got to bring my mom and my dad. My whole family was there from Alabama, made the trip up, and there wasn't a seat left in the house. It was sold out. Ooh, there were Ricky Skaggs and so many different artists I looked up to. The second time I went on, it was Charlie Pride's celebration. So we got to share the stage with Charlie Pride. I mean, goodness, man, it don't get no bigger than that in country music.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I had to pick up. That experience is something I'll always cherish, and I'll leave this world one day just thanking the good Lord I got to play the Grand Ole Opry a few times.
Yeah, that's like you said, if you never sell 1 million records, which we want you to sell 1 million records, but if for some reason it's 999,000,
yeah,
we'll be happy
to do that. Yeah, that's our goal. That's what we're going to do.
and then the Grand Ole Opry.
It may not be in 2020, but that's our goal in 2021.
There you go. That's moving forward. That's the mission statement. That's so great. So, we missed the stage. Obviously, you missed the stage. You're out there performing all the time. Is there something that you can kind of give us think back to some of the great tours you've done? Any funny story or just an even inspiring story of a time on the stage where either it was because of an interaction with the audience that you'll never forget, or something that maybe happened between you and an artist that you toured with, just a conversation backstage that inspired you to go out there and do your best, something like that?
Well, man, I've got so many stories. It'd take us all day. I mean, we were out with Toby Keith, me and Aaron Tippin on my first label were on the road together for a long time. We used to constantly pick on each other. He'd get on my bus, stuff out of the bunks and take stuff out of the bus. We were always kind of jokesters, but just being on that stage in front of we played in front of 100,000 people in Belmont, Ohio, with Toby and Gretchen Wilson and Big and Rich and so many different artists on that label, Lorrie Morgan, and to be in front of 100,000 people was one of the highlights of my career, man. It's unexplainable. To walk out there and see that many people and actually see them singing the words to your songs is that's a feeling that you just it's hard to explain, man. So I count my blessings every day. We certainly look forward to what the future holds for us and then getting back on track. But we've had so many different experience so many different things that a lot of artists don't get to experience, like the Opry and being on the road with some of the biggest artists out there and learning and just every time we go out, man, it's a blessing. Yeah.
That was one of the things I wanted to touch on is I can only live through the people I talk to, but that feeling of seeing someone sing the lyrics to a song that you wrote, wow, that how powerful that is, and think that they're, especially when you tour around the country and you're in different markets and places where you've maybe never been performing until that moment, and you see someone else the power of the song and see them singing your lyrics, that has to be amazing.
Yeah, the power of a song is truly unbelievable. I believe music heals, and it's one of the most powerful things on the planet. And you can't fake people out; they know if it's real or not. And we've been able to cut some of the best songs in country music. Just like Everybody Dies, Not Everybody Lives, a new single. If you get out there in front of 20,000 people singing that song, somebody out there's lost a loved one way too early, and they're sitting there singing the lyrics to that song. It hits home, because like I said, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow, so we can't be afraid to live. So that song, just like many other songs we've recorded, it really hits home with people, and I think that's what traditional country music is all about.
I would imagine at some point the song started writing itself as you put a pen to paper and you start thinking about what the plight of people and what people are going through. The pen was probably just moving on the paper and saying, wow, this is just coming through me, and I'm got to give this message to people.
I think that's one thing, and we've always said in Nashville, country music is 3 chords and the truth. If you've had heartache or you've had great accomplishments in life, or lost somebody, or even lost a pet. I mean, we sing about stuff that's for real, and that's why people relate to it. And it's everyday stuff we all go through, whether it's pain or happiness or sorrow or whatever. And I think that's for years and years to come, traditional country music's never going to die, and I just hope we can keep it alive.
Yes. You write a lot of songs on your own, but then sometimes you collaborate with other songwriters and whatnot. And when you collaborate with other songwriters, or when you sing a song that someone else wrote, is it more common for you to contribute the lyrics with them and to kind of talk it through with them, or do people bring you a finished product once in a while and say, here's a song I think would be good for your voice? How does that usually happen?
Well, you know, we listen to over 300 songs, and that's a lot of songs, a lot of material.
Yeah.
Like, we're very blessed to have people in Nashville believe in what I'm doing now, and some of the best songwriters out there, because it just don't happen overnight. They send us songs that are finished. And sometimes I get the opportunity to sit down with them, which is a great honor and a great privilege. You know, I may bring an idea to the table that I've been trying to write for 2 months and just can't seem to, and then we figure it out. But, you know, for the most part, we listen down to, when you got people like Bruce Birch, Jeffrey Steele, Greg Barnhill, you know, Monty Powell, Galen Griffin, these cats have wrote songs for everybody out there. They've had #1 hits on Clay Walker, Alan Jackson, so many different artists. You know, you need to tend to pay attention to those people because they're there for a reason, and the good Lord put them in our life for a reason. But I have so many songs pitched to me, and I sit down and listen. Me and the label and the team will sit down and listen, and I know right off the bat if it's something I want to cut or not. And man, but when you've got people like that of that stature singing your songs, they're all good.
Yeah.
It's just like this new thing for country music. Every song on there could be a single. You know, we just we got lucky and done our time. You know, we chose songs wisely, but every song on there could be a single.
So that being said, and it came out like the end of last year. Is that correct? Like the end of last year?
Yeah. Yes.
So you're kind of in the middle of promotion for this album. This is a new single from that album, and so it sounds like this album still has some legs then for a while then. So that maybe during this time, I'm sure you're always writing and hearing, like you said, new songs from people, and you're doing your own writing. But you've got some things out there that are available to people, but not promoted yet as a single that could be still before you have the pressure of maybe put a new album out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This record's got plenty of legs left. We're always looking to go back in the studio and record new stuff, but this album has got a lot of life left in it. You know, we're only 2 singles out on this album.
Yeah.
We cut 11. Like I say, all 11 songs got potential to be hits. Unfortunately, you can't put out all 11, but you know, there's 4 or 5 songs, 6 songs off this record that are just smashes, man. They're just over the top. Some of the best songwriters in Nashville that have written for so many different artists. Like I said, Greg Barnhill, Tim, Galen, they've all wrote for Tim McGraw and some of the biggest names in the business, man. So we definitely want to record their material.
I used to go down the Billboard list and look at the top 100 for country, and knowing that a lot of those songwriters write for, many people, I used to go down the list, and, that's sometimes the name that doesn't pop to the front. It's the artist, the singer. But to look and see, oh my goodness, this person wrote 5 songs in the top 100 right now. I used to love, someone like John Rich, of course, would at the point when he was doing all that writing, you look down the chart and see, and then obviously he did his own music later on. But looking at some of the names and seeing the unsung heroes in a sense that they wrote these songs, and that someone may not be a household name, but certainly in the world of country music they are, to the people that perform and know what their craft is.
Oh, absolutely, man. If you go look on the charts now, the top 40, you got people like Shane McAnally, Bruce Birch, Monty Holmes. You may see their name on every song in the top 7. There's a reason they're there. Everybody wants to cut their music because they wrote so many #1 hits. And for new artists and people like me that's established already, it don't hurt to have those guys have those songs in your back pocket. It's just like a loaded gun. Every now and then you might want to get another bullet and put it in there, man. If you go on deer hunt, you've got back pocket, to have those people in your corner, it certainly helps to go to them and say, look, man, I need a hit. We're coming off a big hit off the radio. Write me a hit, or let's write one together. So it's a blessing for sure.
Yeah, and it's nice to have that, like you said, because I'm sure you enjoy the process of writing songs on your own too. But it's nice to have that balance. If there's a moment in time where you're not feeling that divine inspiration on a song, and you're like you said, you put a song aside, maybe you go with a songwriting team and you finish the song. But then when you write your own songs, when it's strictly just you, what tends to come first? The lyrics, the melody, a little bit of both, or how does that process happen for you when you're writing your own song?
Well, it could come from just any day an experience, whether it's taking a kid fishing or taking a kid hunting or watching him harvest a big buck or having some heartache in your family, losing a loved one, anything you can get an idea from every day, and songwriting is an art. A lot of people don't really understand how hard it can be or how easy it can be at time. Sometimes if it's something that's happened real life, like I say, these people nowadays know if it's fake or not, man. You can't write a fake country song because they'll spit you up and chew you out. You know, I mean, it's just the way it is. I'm just telling it like it's
true.
You know,
no, you're true.
Sometimes I can go a month without writing and then get an idea. I can get stumped on a song and not be able to finish it. And then I can go out and talk to a buddy of mine that just went through a hard time, or somebody, unfortunately, that's going through a divorce or has lost a loved one, or wants to go fishing and make a memory of catching a 10-pound bass. I mean, anything, any idea that just pops up that's real, that is heartfelt and written from the heart. You can get an idea anytime. You know, like me and you talking today, we're talking about this pandemic. There's a million songs that have yet to be written about this pandemic and what's going on in our country and what's going on with our world leaders and how we need to love and respect one another more. So you can get an idea any day of the week. And like I say, sometimes it's easy to put that pen to paper, and sometimes it may take a month to write a hit song.
What I think is exciting, and just I'm an amateur songwriter, so I've not had that kind of the kind of success that you have had being out there, you know, and that so many people have had. But just as an amateur songwriter, it just feels so much like attuned to what's going on around me. Like you mentioned, these people, your conversations just with friends and family, and walking to the store, how like we're so much more in tune with what's going on in our surroundings, that someone says 2 words and all of a sudden you're like, hey, that's a song, you know, and that's what's neat when that magic happens.
Absolutely. Like I said, you can get an idea from anybody, anytime, you know. For example, my wife is a supervisor in a hospital. They're seeing a lot of this coronavirus right now. She works 16-hour shifts, comes home tired. You know, I try to have supper ready and do the honey-do list to keep that off of her. So I'm doing, but anything like that, man. All our ward leaders and our people out on the front lines, keeping people alive, taking care of people, whether it's a nurse or a fireman or a truck driver or a truck driver mechanic. You know, we owe them so much right now, all these essential workers that are keeping our country strong and allowing us to do what we love to do for a living and let me live my dream out. There's ideas in all of that. You know, I have, she inspires me to be the best I can be, just like so many other people do. You never know when you're going to get an idea for a song, whether it's, watching somebody like her work hard to keep us all alive, man, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you, it's such a neat thing that you're so committed to the world of traditional country music, you know, that you're so committed to it and that's your thing. Have there been times though where you felt like, you know, in dealing with labels, in dealing with other people that you're hoping that they have your best interest in mind, but that you felt like maybe they were tugging you in a different direction to maybe do more contemporary country, which I respect what you're doing. And so I just kind of asking that question, like, you know, did you ever feel that you had to defend your love for traditional country with them and say no, or just you not defend so much, but put your foot down and say, no, this is what I grew up with, this is where I'm going, and this is what I believe in?
Well, you know, anytime in the business, you're going to have somebody that tries to advise you to do different things, you know, but I've always been straightforward traditional country music. I think anybody that approaches me knows, look, he can't, my voice can't be denied traditional country music. I mean, can you imagine me rapping or something like that? You know what I mean? Or trying to sing a rock and roll song, I could probably pull it off. But man, if you listen to a Shane Owens record, if you like traditional country music, if you love Randy Travis, Keith Whitley, George Jones, George Strait, Alan Jackson, that kind of thing, you know, when you pop a Shane Owens CD in the CD player, it's going to be traditional country music. You're going to hear all those influences. And, you know, I've never been pressured to stray away from who I am or what I'm doing. And that's one thing about this label that I love and respect so much. They let me be Shane, and it's worked so far. And we all are huge fans and just in love with traditional country music. Like I said earlier, everybody's talented in their own way. I'm not taking anything from anybody. The good Lord, if he'd have made us all the same, it'd be quite boring. He made it all different. You know, I respect the Luke Holmes and the Luke Bryans out there, so many different artists that are doing their thing. You know, they're who they are. They know who they are. I appreciate them as artists. I respect them as artists. But when you pop in a Shane Owens CD, it's going to be traditional country music, and there's millions of people out there that love traditional country music. And you people on the top 20, top 40 records there nowadays. It may sound a little bit more popish than traditional country music or whatever you want to call it, but they grew up on the good stuff too. They know who Alan Jackson and George Strait is because they grew up idolizing those people just like me.
Yep, that's so true. And I think what it seems like things happen in like an ebb and a flow where sometimes people get hooked on country music through some of the contemporary sounds and then get pulled in to hear what's behind those contemporary sounds, the roots of it, and then start hearing the more of the traditional country music. So it's always a good thing in a sense that that's out there too. Like, you know, again, we can't have a million, we can't all be doctors, we can't all be lawyers, we can't all be singers, we have to have diversity and variety in the career. So there's a place, like you said, for the contemporary artist and the respect for them, a respect for the traditional artist. There's room for both worlds. And I think they complement each other because it pulls people in that maybe are rock and rollers that say, wait, I've heard this country cover of a rock song. And then they go deeper and they say, wait, there's this guy that's writing these amazing songs with guitar and the country and the steel guitar and all, you know, steel pedal guitar and all the different sounds that you can bring to the table.
Yeah, you know, like I say, unfortunately, you don't hear a lot of steel guitar played on the radio today, but I believe it's coming back. I believe the pendulum toward traditional country music is swinging back our way. You got 15, 16-year-old kids out here in high school that are digging on Keith Whitley and George Jones, and that's an amazing feat. And, you know, that's living proof that there's great hope for the future for traditional country music artists like myself. You know, we can't thank all the people that paved the way for so many years, all the legends we've talked about in this interview, and a lot of them we left out, man, because I'm telling you, nobody can take your talent away from you. Everybody's talented in their own way. Like I said, I love and respect everybody in this business, because if you're willing to get on a bus and travel 260 dates a year, you got my respect. No matter what genre you're from or whatever, you know, it should be that way. Everybody should respect each other that way. But, you know, I'm not going to, you can listen to me and tell I'm not going to be too far straying away from traditional country music, because that's what I do, that's who I am, and that's what I love.
Well, as you said, the pendulum seems to be swinging back in this direction a little bit, which is wonderful. And how rewarding it is, or just inspiring to hear young people, like you said, listening to those classic artists and saying, you know, it's so easy to just assume that some of the younger people are listening to, you know, the flavor of the week, as it would, you know, on music radio, and to take the time to talk to them and ask them. I teach vocal music lessons to people, and when I talk to some of my younger students and they tell me the artists that they listen to, it's always so humbling and inspiring that the music's being passed down from generation to generation. It's easy to assume that they're listening to hip hop or and there's nothing wrong with hip hop, you know, that's all they're listening to, you know, that they haven't heard country, they haven't heard pop, they haven't heard R&B, but they have. It's being passed from their parents and from the people that inspire them. It's really rewarding to hear that.
Exactly. You know, like I said, everybody's talented in their own way, and I love and respect everybody in this business that gets out and tours. That's just, it's a hard work. You know, it don't happen overnight, but like I said, coming from my perspective, I think it would be a shame that any kid or any young adult would live this life and go to the other side without hearing songs like "He Stopped Loving Her Today" or "Don't Close Your Eyes," or you know, so many different country, Amarillo by Morning. I mean, that's country music. That's the people that paved the way for us to do what we do today. And no matter what era you grew up in, I bet you could go from the #1 spot in country music, this radio, in the top 100, and everybody in that section would tell you they love George Strait, they love Alan Jackson. That's what got them hooked on country music.
Yeah, I know that percentage would be very high of people that, all of them probably, like you said, in one way or another, they've been touched by people from the roots of country music. And I love to read autobiographies about some of the country artists and hear how they interacted with each other back in the day, and how someone that wrote this song and someone that wrote that song, I didn't know they knew each other. And to hear their stories about how they had a chance meeting and how they affected each other's lives is so inspiring to read some of those stories about these classic artists.
Absolutely. You know, and if in that top 100, if there's one or two that didn't know any better, I mean, you could hog time and whoop them with the George Jones album. We could get it across to them.
There you go. You know, in kind of summing up some of the things we talked about, wrapping things up a little bit here, because I want to respect your time, of course. And, you know, I just, you know, kind of we talked about the 999,000 records as being that new mantra that, you know, in going into 2021. Why can't we have an album that has 11 hit singles? Why not? You know, why can't you be the first artist that releases all 11 of those songs and says it's never been done? But, you know, it's just so neat to hear that you have so much affection for those songs that they could be, you know, and it's funny that sometimes labels are, you know, and it's great that you have the support of your label to let you kind of pick what you want to put in front of the public. But that any song could be a single, right? If it's given the love and affection to it's shared with the masses.
Absolutely, great idea, and I think we're a wonderful candidate for that. You know, we want everybody to, like I say, go check out our music. Go to the website, ShaneOwensCountryMusic.com. Check us out if you've never heard us before. If you love traditional country music, there's got to be something on that album you'll love. Because some of the best songwriters on the planet and the best musicians on the planet, were involved in that record, and the label done a wonderful job sitting down with me, pitching me songs, and we all, you know, it takes a team. At the end of the day, I'm just a singer that the good Lord gave a lot of talent to, and it takes a lot of people to make me who I am.
Well, in talking with you, I'm so happy to hear that you have this great support network of people, because it does take all those people to be able to let your job be the easy part. You know, I shouldn't say easy. It's not easy writing songs, but like you get to do what you don't have to get wrapped up in the business part of it as much as some people might have to if you have a good team. You know, if you don't have a good team, then yeah, you're having to do all of that, but you've got support people to take care of some of the peripherals so you can focus on your gift and your talent.
Exactly. You know, without all these people behind the scenes, there's no way I could pull this off, you know, from the songwriters to the band, to the management team, to the record label owners, everybody believing in what we're doing, to my tour manager, to my merchandise lady, all the way down to friends and fans. I mean, it takes so much to pull this off. You know, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm just a good old country boy that God give a lot of talent to that I don't take for granted. And it takes a lot of, it takes working every day, people behind the scenes. Calling the station, setting up these interviews, different things, you know, getting songwriter appointments written down, making sure the band's rehearsing through these times. You know, you want to try to stay tight. Everybody, you know, I think everybody for the last few months, we've been in kind of a depression stage. I mean, we're only human, you know. We all have the same feelings. We just got to get through it together. But man, thank God for social media and people like yourself that are helping us keep this thing going through this pandemic. And I believe in my heart before long we're going to be back out there touring, and everything will get back to normal. Is what I'm hoping for.
I hope so too, Shane. And you know, it just I think the personality that you carry, the way you carry yourself, I think it makes people want to work hard for you, and it makes people want to help promote your music. So I'm grateful to have had this experience to talk to you today, and I'd like to be one of your, you know, biggest supporters and help you just get the word out there. So thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate it, man. God bless you. You try to stay safe and let everybody know we love them, and tell them to check us out this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. We go Facebook Live. We have thousands of people. So y'all check us out. We'll see you out there on the road soon, buddy. God bless, man, and you stay safe.
Thank you. And you also, Shane. Thank you so much. And you take care.
Buddy, take it easy, man.
You too. Bye-bye.